Welcome to A Double
Double
and Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 91 of A Double and Dice. And today, actually, Jocelyn is not here with me, but I'm not by myself. I have a special guest host with me today. So I'm going to welcome Danny to the podcast. Hi, Danny.
Hey Kim, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming along. I know I had to convince you a little bit, but I convinced her because she's here. But we're going to have fun tonight because we're going to be doing a female character today in Dice Masters, which Danny actually picked. And we haven't done it before, so we'll do a female character in Dice Masters. But before we jump into that, Danny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How'd you get into Dice Masters?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I got into board gaming overall a few years ago when I was on maternity leave, actually. So I needed a way to like spend my, 1 or 2
Mommy
hours
time.
while my newborn was napping.
Right. Yeah.
And so I got into board games and then I got into like dice games. And I was like, what kind of games are out there right now that I could maybe play over webcam? And so I got into Dice Masters because I like card games, I like dice games, and I watch most of the superhero movies, although I don't remember anything after I watch it. But yeah, I found Dice Masters a few years ago, and Kim and everybody in the what is your is North
The community.
North, yeah, your
Yeah.
community that you've built was very welcoming and taught me exactly how to play well. Although I'm still not great, I'm much better than I was when I first started. But yeah, I guess my background is really from board gaming, and then I got into Dice Masters, webcam gaming, and it's really neat to see people playing this game online because I never thought it was possible, but it really opened up a whole like slew of possibilities when it comes to gaming. And yeah, just really appreciative of the community that Kim has built. And yeah, it's just been very fun. And even though I don't play as often as I would like, it's nice to see all the chats and stuff in the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Because I think that's how I got into Dice Masters too, is because I like dice rolling games and board games that just have dice rolling in it. It's fun. And you also do a lot of board gaming content.
I do. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a YouTube channel for myself. It's Danny Cha Plays, and I focus mostly on solo board gaming because I don't have many people around that play board games specifically, and so I just find games that are solo friendly. Typically, they have automas or AI bots that you could play against,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, that's a whole other world of board gaming as well. There's like a whole rabbit hole you could get down
Oh
into.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun, and I have a whole collection of games, and it's growing pretty much
It's
every
very
week.
addicting. It's
It
very
is.
addicting.
Yeah,
I try
but
to go solo games too, but then it's
yeah,
like I never get to play them. Like I never put it on the table to play solo gaming. Like I never do. But I buy
you,
them.
the funny part is I actually put them on the table, but I don't get to play them. I just put them away after. Like I have it all set up, and I'm hoping I have the time to get
Right.
through it, and then I just put it away because I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And you do a lot of videos. So if you into board games, and definitely check out Danny's YouTube
yeah,
site.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I know as that's like, if we ever do a board game podcast, I swear that would go on for hours. There's so much content in board games. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole to go down. dmNorthTV does play board games on Saturday nights, so if anybody's ever interested in playing, you can join our Discord our Discord server, and come and play with us Saturday nights at 9 p.m. So Danny, if you're ever available,
Yeah.
yeah, you can come out and play. And actually try to do them like physically, like
Hmm.
physical copies, not digitally. So there's always
Yeah,
something about
that's neat.
physical playing is so much different than digital. I find it
Mhm.
like I need components in my hand or something.
No, I agree. I love like the ability to play board games digitally, like Board Game
Yeah,
Arena or Tabletop Simulator. But for me, I do like the tactile touch of like rolling the
yeah,
dice and
touching
hearing,
it. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
Very short.
and components and yeah. All right, see, we went off topic. We're talking about board games.
It's a good topic.
uh, yeah, but yeah, thanks for coming along. So we'll get into our female character, and who did we pick, Danny?
We picked Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, so it's between Scarlet Witch and Dark Phoenix, but
Mhm.
Dark Phoenix we already had done an episode on, and so we went with Scarlet Witch, and Danny likes her story, and also you have a playmat of Scarlet Witch that you play on for Dice Masters.
I do.
Um,
It's a very pretty mat. I
yes.
was really like, I was looking through, yeah, it was Etsy. I was looking through Etsy for all the Dice Masters mats because when I get into a game, I have to get a good play mat for it. And so I was like, I'm getting
Yeah.
into Dice Masters, I need a play mat for it. So
Yeah.
I looked it up, and yeah, this was one that someone designed, and I just
That's
really
yeah.
liked it overall. But at the time, I didn't even know much about Scarlet Witch. But since
Okay.
then, I've seen a few episodes of I don't even remember the name of the show. It was
Oh,
with
the
Vision
TV
though.
show? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
TV show.
WandaVision?
WandaVision. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that one.
yeah.
And Elizabeth Olsen was really, really good in that one. So yeah.
Yeah,
So since then,
she's a
I've
good
gotten
actor.
into
Yeah.
her.
She suits that role pretty good.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. She does it well. So if I train wreck this, then Danny will correct me. She knows. But we're going to do a brief background story about her. Um, and reading this, and usually when we do female characters, there's always a sad story in all this, but I didn't really find too much of a sad story. But again, we're not getting too deep into their stories, so we'll just give a quick background, and then we'll get into the cards, and yeah, we'll go from there. So Wanda Maximoff is her name. So this is from the Marvel fandom that I took this information from. So she has a twin brother named, now I can't pronounce it. I think it's Pietro.
Yeah,
Hi,
Pietro, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe with an accent, Pietro,
Probably.
who who is
I thought it was
AKA.
actually pretty cool that she's a twin because I'm a twin. And I was like,
Oh, are
weird.
you?
Connection with her. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't meet much twins, so there you go. That's something I just learned about Danny. I did not know she was a twin. So Pietro is also AKA. Do you know who he is?
No, I don't.
Quicksilver.
Oh yes, Quicksilver.
Yes, his side is Quicksilver. So they were born to a nomadic Romanani witch. Okay,
Mm.
and later on, and people can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe they find out that their father is actually Magneto.
Oh yes, I
I
did hear
think.
about that.
Yeah. So their mother's a witch and afraid of harming her children due to her like witchy lifestyle, I guess. Natalia is her name. Placed the babies under the care of her brother. So because I guess they didn't want them
Hmm.
involved, she went and gave them to her brother, who started to take care of the twins. When the High Evolutionary, who is a person, he is a scientist who seeks to evolve different life forms. And spoiler alert, I believe he was in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't know if you've seen that movie yet. I just
I
actually
have
recently
not.
saw it.
No.
Okay, so I'm spoiling. I think it was him in it. So he's a scientist who seeks to evolve different life forms. So him and his knights went to their region or their where they live, where the Maximoffs live, in search of babies for his experiments. So the twins were kidnapped by a Catholic priest and brought to the High Evolutionary, into a citadel that they had that they are on this mountain called Wundagore. I could pronounce these wrong, but who knows? So the High Evolutionary made alterations to the twins' genomes, disguising them as like regular mutants. So while under the evolutionary's care, Wanda started to get like mystic energies coming from the Wundagore mountain, which was in fact a prison for the demon lord of chaos known as, and I'm going to butcher this, Chthon, Chthon, Chthon. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm sure someone will correct me because I'm gonna butcher
I'm
this.
sure one
But
of those were
names,
right.
yeah, names I can't, like some names I can't pronounce. So I think it's Chthon. So we're gonna go with Chthon, or something like that, or we could just call him the Demon Lord of Chaos.
That works.
So from yeah, that's easier. So from that moment on, she acquired a natural talent to practice magic. Now, again, this could have been from a mix of her mom and obviously this Lord of Chaos person. So the evolutionary attempted to have the twins be adopted by World War II heroes Whizzer, who I've never heard of, and Miss America. However, the former fled in desperation, and the High Evolutionary actually returned the babies to their uncle. So they were back with their uncle after being with that guy, that scientist, for a while. And they pretty much lived a pretty good childhood. They traveled along with their foster parents, aka their uncle and aunt. And then, under the family's protection, Wanda explored her mystic potential freely, so her actual powers and stuff like that. While Pietro manifested an unusual super speed power, which, aka, he is Quicksilver. So, after being saved from an angry mob by Magneto, Scarlet Witch and her brother joined the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is an affiliation in our Dice Masters, to fight for Magneto's mutant cause. Now, they didn't really agree too much to what Magneto was out there trying to do. You know, with his ruthless approach to human, how humans hostiles towards mutants and stuff like that. So the twins actually left him, and then they actually joined the Avengers. So as an Avenger, so later on as Wanda grew up, she fell in love and married. Do you know who?
Vision.
Yes.
Yes.
So her teammate, the Vision, in order to have a family with her artificial husband, she used her abilities to conceive two twin boys. But the spell was later broken, erasing both boys from existence, and tragedy that she accompanied by her husband being dismantled. So the trauma of losing her family made her pretty mentally vulnerable. After she attacked the Avengers twice, the group disassembled, and then in her like erratic display of all her powers and stuff like that, she reshaped the reality under the rule of the House of. Sorry. So she reshaped reality under the rule of House of M based on Magneto's wishes. So as the Avengers and X-Men battled to restore reality, she uttered the words "No more mutants," wiping out super abilities of most mutants in retaliations to Magneto's, scheming and all that. And then that action became as known as the mutant dissemination. So you can read, that's probably a whole side story you guys can read about. But again, after losing her family, she pretty much became crazy. Which her TV show pretty much kind of went into. If you've ever watched a TV show, which you did, right? WandaVision?
I watched only a few episodes.
Yeah, so we won't spoil anything for you. Okay. We're totally spoiling everything in this episode. Yeah. Okay, so which was a good show. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. So for years after a long way, she actually rejoined the Avengers. And she was pretty much haunted by her actions, and in a journey for redemption, which was all the loss of some mutants, and then finding herself that she had to deal with the demon lord of chaos. So she kind of went on to kind of fight him, I guess, and now I'm losing where I am. Oh yeah, okay. So she kind of like went on to fight him, and then eventually, once things kind of calmed down and stuff like that, she kind of opened like a witchcraft shop, so which aimed to like assisting anybody who really needed help and stuff like that. So, and then she's got a lot of side stories. She's been part of a lot of other affiliations, and so she's kind of been around, I guess. But I guess she was good, turned kind of bad, and then I guess became good again and tried to be a little bit better since she kind of ruined things, I guess, in the world. But it's her. She's pretty cool. I like her. I think she has really cool powers. So with all that, and I mean she's a little messed up for a little bit, but I think she got back
Got
on
some
track and
trauma,
stuff.
but
Yeah, some trauma, but some of it her own doing.
mm,
but but I know she had to deal with a whole bunch. So yeah, so she has a lot of side stories. So if you ever do want to read up more on her, or you can give us some stories or anything like that, please feel free, because this is mostly taken from the Marvel fandom site. So, but no crazy drama. So that's Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff.
mm.
Anything you want to add to her story, Danny?
No, I think you covered a lot of it. Most of it I did not really know, but
No, yeah.
I think yeah, that was a great summary. I'm interested to see if there's like a whole comic series just about her. But
Yeah, I don't know. And I know a lot of our comic folks out there can let us know.
okay,
And
yeah,
we can
any
always pass the
recommendations? I'm
information
always
around
sorry.
to you, Danny. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know she was like in House of M, and she was in like all like the Avengers and probably X-Men, because they all like clashed at some point, I guess. So Brotherhood of Mutants, kind of villainy, right? So yeah, I'm pretty sure she probably has her own. I would assume she would have her own comic book, but our comic book folks out there will let us know. So she has quite a few cards in Dice Masters. She shows up in 5 sets, and she had one promo card.
Oh,
So we're gonna go through each of her sets, and then we'll kind of talk about their abilities and stuff like that, and then we'll see which ones we like. So you want to kick it off, Danny?
sure. So I guess I'll start with Chronokinesis, her card. No, wait, no. We're starting with Control's Probability, and that's
Yes, from
from
Uncanny X-Men.
Uncanny X-Men. Yep.
Yeah.
And that ability says, while Scarlet Witch is active, you may re-roll any or all of your dice one additional time during the roll and re-roll step, which I think is actually really good. I like any card that lets you re-roll anything.
Oh yeah,
Um,
in your main step. Yeah, that's her
yeah,
super
I
rare
like that.
card,
Yep.
from that set.
Yep.
Yeah, so not wait, you may reroll any or all your dice one just oh, okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, during your
Yeah.
reroll step, yeah. Well, she's active. Yeah, because that can always, when you miss a character,
Yeah.
that can help. And she's a 4 cost, which isn't too bad. Which
Agreed.
isn't too
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. And then she has a rare.
Yes. And that one is Unity Squad.
Hmm.
And that's a 3 cost. The affiliation is actually different. So Control's Probability was X-Men, and then Unity Squad is Avengers. Is that right?
Yep.
And then it says ability is on the turn after Scarlet Witch is fielded, you may make your opponent re-roll one die from his initial roll before he
Hmm.
re-rolls dice. Oh, interesting. So
Interesting.
you're
You may
very
make your opponent
controlling.
reroll one dice from his initial roll. Okay, so first roll, then they
Hmm.
can make them re-roll, and then they finish their roll. Interesting. You would think it
Yeah.
would come after though, like
Yeah, because then they could just re-roll
roll,
that.
re-roll, and then you make the decision if you want them to re-roll like a character or something like that. But that's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a 3 cost, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And then her
Um,
other last one, which she actually doesn't have an uncommon, she just has a common.
oh yeah. So this one's Unity Squad, and it says, oh wait, sorry,
No,
I'm
yeah,
like looking
Wanda.
at the wrong one. That's Wanda Maximoff. When fielded, Scarlet Witch deals 1 damage to each opposing X-Men character for each other villain you have in the field. Okay.
Oh, okay, so that one's very particular.
Yeah.
I guess the person at the other side has to be running like an X-Men team, and you have to be pretty much running a villains team. Which she is a villain for this card. So she's a different affiliation for each of her cards in the set.
Yeah, that is
Which is,
interesting.
yeah, which is interesting. And she is actually okay. So her stats do not. Oh, they change in one set, but they're mostly 013, 033, 153. So a little easier to KO.
Yeah.
But out of all that one, I don't know. I kind of like the making your opponent roll, but I wish it
Hmm.
was kind of after their rolls finished.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, but the controls probability one's not bad either if you need to roll something. So those are a little interesting. So her next one, she actually had Uncanny X-Men promo card,
Yes.
which is Scarlet Witch Avengers Disassembled. Do you want to read that one?
Yeah, sure. It's a 6 cost. While Scarlet Witch is active, all Avengers characters get -2 attack and -3 defense.
So this one is when she broke them up pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
she's coming back at them again. This one, if your opponent is running an Avengers team, it'll help, right? But unless you know that's going to happen, like let's say you were playing in like an event and you know, like maybe people will run, that you would put something like that on your team.
Yeah, it was very high cost though. I don't know if I would have.
Yeah, 6 cost just to make the Avengers minus, and you don't even know what your opponent's gonna bring. Yeah, it's a bit. That's a bit interesting one.
Yep.
Unless again you know the event and what's the theme and you think people are gonna bring Avengers, right?
Yeah. But I like the art. This art is much cooler than the other art.
Oh yeah, for this one's realistic. I think all her dice were pink, right? Yes. Same symbol.
Looks the same.
Yeah, I think they're same, just pink variety and just kind of little just like little tints, like different pinks, I guess you could say, different pinks.
Yeah, different shades. Yeah.
Yeah. So her other she shows up in is Doctor Strange, which I think was a team pack.
Oh. Okay.
And so these have no rarities in these team packs. They're all like a common version. So this was the Mystics. This must have been the Mystics team pack. So her affiliation in this one is all Mystics affiliation. And oh, by the way, she's all bolts and everything. She doesn't change, which is pretty good, I guess. So the first one is Witchy Woman. These names definitely do fit her. So it's a 3 cost. When fielded, search your bag for an action die and roll it. If you do and roll an energy phase, Scarlet Witch deals you 2 damage. Not bad.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of build an action team, like an action, like with actions. Her other one is Hex Bolts, 4 costs. When Scarlet Witch is active, when you use an action die, you may pay 1 to add it to your prep area. That's not bad.
Yep.
And Chaos Magic, 4 cost. While Scarlet Witch is active, when you use an action die, gain a life. I think I like the first one. Witchy Woman.
First one, out of all of them, yeah.
Yeah, search your bag for an action die and roll it. If you do, and it rolls an energy phase, Scarlet Witch deals you 2 damage. Which, yeah, you would have to kind of build an actions team around that.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is she's a when fielded, not when active. So you have to field her, do it, hopefully, then get her out of the field.
Yeah.
And then rotate her back up. But 3 cost is not that bad.
Yeah, especially if you have like Dark Phoenix, you could make it less.
Yeah, it's actually not
4 of that die on your team, which is pretty good. Then you could get it out 4 times at least.
Yeah, and just make sure you roll the action. Would be if it was active, and you roll an action die. I think that would be a little bit better, but it wouldn't be a 3 cost. It would probably be like a 4 cost.
Right.
Okay. Next one is Deadpool, I think.
Is that what DP is? Okay.
Yes, Deadpool.
Got it. Yeah, so that one is called Scarlet. Why not just red? And that one says when fielded, you may move target fist character die from an opponent's prep area to their bag, which is pretty situational too.
Yeah, because they have, again, are they gonna have a fist character, right?
Yeah. And then I guess for this set, she is part of the X-Men affiliation. And then the next one is Lady Liberator. Scarlet Witch costs 1 less to purchase if an opponent has a fist character or action die in the prep area. And in parentheses, Scarlet Witch does not need to be active to use this ability. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Challenge costs 1 less to purchase. If an
But that
opponent
is a
has.
cost 3, so I guess as long as there's a fist character in the prep area or an action die,
Or an
Scarlet
action
Witch
die.
costs 2
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
purchase. Nice.
And she had
And
one
then
more. Yeah.
one more is called No More Mutants, and there's a 4 cost. When fielded, deal 1 damage to all players and non-fist character dice, and 2 damage to all fist character dice. Oh, okay. So that kind of covers everything.
Deal 1 damage to all players, including yourself, and
Oh,
non-fist character dice. Okay, so I mean, you can KO their psychics, I guess,
yeah.
if they don't have if they have more psychics. And I don't know if I like any of these from this set
Yeah.
because they're very you're relying on your opponent to have fist characters,
Agreed.
really.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, but I actually out of all of them, I like this art the better.
The art. Yeah.
Yeah, this one I like on her card. Okay, so next set she was in is X-Men First Class, I believe this one, XFC. And then the first one is Careful What You Wish For, 3 cost common. Now this was a very popular card back in the day. So while Scarlet Witch is active, during your opponent's roll and reroll step, your opponents must reroll any action dice that land on action face and cannot reroll any action dice on energy faces. So this was a big one back in the day. Everybody pretty much had this one on the team because we had a lot of what was her name? Yanti. So Yanti was the one where I think when you use actions, she was unblockable. And I think a lot of people used like actions to make her unblockable. But when you had Scarlet Witch there, it kind of stops them from using actions pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good response. Yep.
Yeah, and then I think there was that other one which I can't remember, Green Devil Mask, which everybody hated. I will tell everybody what that one is. Let me look it up for one second. Green Devil Mask. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Green Devil Mask. These are all like so golden. They're old school. Let me find which one it was. Yeah, okay, I think it was this one. So Green Devil Mask is from one of the D&D sets, Tomb of Annihilation, and it was an action die. So it had like three like a trap. It was like a trap die. Like it's an action die, but on it was a trap. So you place the die in the field zone, and then when it's used, so it triggers like the trigger mode. So it goes in the field zone, it sits there. And then the trigger was your opponent has 4 or more active characters. So once your opponent hits 4 or more active characters, it triggers that die. And then the effect, what happens is your opponents must reroll all their active character dice and move any that roll energy faces to their used pile. So as soon as you field, so let's say that's sitting in the field, as soon as you field your 4th character, boom, triggers Green Devil Mask. You have to roll all of them, all 4, and then and then if you don't roll them back, they go to the use pile. So that's what that die did. So again, she would stop because if you roll it and you rolled energy, you can't re-roll it, right? And if you roll it and you rolled like a fate, like the actual action face, you have to re-roll it when she was in the deal. So she stopped a lot of action dice from being used, and Green Devil Mask was a big one. And I think Yanti using action dice to make her unblockable was a big one. So she was very popular in everybody's team back then.
Wow. Was there a ban on that card at all, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. And the funniest thing is too with the Green Devil Mask is, let's say you you had like 6 or 7 like a lot in your field zone.
Yeah.
And then Devil Mask comes in. And as soon as you put Devil Mask in the field, boom, that triggers your opponents because they already have 4 or more sitting there, and they have to
Yeah.
reroll everything.
Oh. Yeah, that's no
Yeah,
fun.
it was not a fun. Nobody really liked this card. It was great, and it was a 3 cost, so it was cheap.
Yeah.
And again, you just have to keep her sitting there because she's well active. And in this set, she was Brotherhood of Mutant affiliation, and she was also a villain affiliation. Um, Again, same die stats as before, except the one that you just did, Deadpool, her stats were a little different. So they're 1-3-3-3, but 5-5 instead of 5-3, so it
Oh
changed
yeah.
a little bit.
Didn't
Yeah.
notice that. Yep.
And then her uncommon in this one is Reshaping Reality. So all these names are very familiar for what we talked about. She's a 4 cost here. While she's active, when you roll a character die, you may spin it up or down 1 level before moving it to your reserve pool. Wait, when you roll a character die, you may spin it up or down before moving it to your reserve pool. Okay, so I'm guessing you roll it,
Yeah.
you
And then you
character
just
face
spin
it,
it
and
up
then
or
you
down.
spin it up and down, yeah, and keep it there. That's interesting. But then you got to pay the fielding cost if it's a big one. Or maybe sometimes dies, like you know how they have the asterisks on it. Maybe they use different abilities or something.
Yeah.
And then her rare in this set was a 3 cost, so she had the Awaken ability. So Awaken is when you spin down a die, and then when you spin up a die, you use their Awaken ability. So it's roll a Brotherhood of Mutant character die in your used. If you roll a character face, you may field it for free. Otherwise, return it to the used pile. And then in brackets, it says, when this die spins up 1 or more levels, use the effect. I mean, not bad to get your Brotherhood characters out, but again, you have to build a Brotherhood team.
Yeah.
Affiliated team.
Specific. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I would pick the common one because it stops action dice from being used.
Yeah, I agree. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And in her last set, which is the newest set,
Yes. What does MSW mean?
that is Marvel Secret Wars.
That's right. Marvel Secret
Yeah,
Wars.
so the newest set. She's in the newest set.
Yes. So, Chronokinesis. This is a common. While Scarlet Witch is active, you can reroll the dice in your reserve pool at the end of your main step. So I never understood this one. So, like, if you were to reroll the dice at the end of your main step, you can't field them if they roll characters, right? Or can you?
You still can if you have energy.
Oh, I didn't
So
realize
you
that.
can reroll the dice in your reserve at the end of your main. Oh, at the end of your main step. So
Yeah, that's
after you've purchased and everything,
yeah.
you reroll the
Which
dice.
field, or you? I mean, I typically field before some of that, but
Okay, you can reroll the dice in your reserve pool at the end of your main step. Yeah. So in your main step, you purchase, you do whatever you need to do. Then once you're done the main step,
but if it's at the end, can you still field them? Like you're ending your main step.
good question.
But anyway, that's why I never
Which would
used
make
it. So.
it's interesting too, because let's say you had like when fielded abilities, right? So you
Yeah.
feel them, you do their abilities, let's say they do whatever, and then in the end of the main step, you go and re-roll them because they're when fielded abilities, right? So you re-roll them now in your reserve pool, but you already ended your main step. So yeah, good question. Can
Oh, I
you
have
actually
a
feel them?
use for this. Is where you have a character, but you actually can't field it for whatever reason. Maybe you don't have enough energy and you want to make use of it maybe as energy. And so at the end of your main step, you re-roll those characters you rolled that you didn't field, and then you'll hopefully roll energies and be able to use some actions, I guess.
Oh yeah, like globals or something.
Yep,
Yeah, that's a
something like
4 cost though. That seems, I don't know how you would use that, but
yeah.
okay.
So next we have Mystic Arcana. It's a 5 cost, and was that an uncommon? While
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is active, when an opponent uses an action die, Deal 3 damage to target character die. That's I like that.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 damage is you could take out a lot, I think.
Yeah, I can.
Um, and then
But that's
the
a
last
5 cost.
one,
That's
yes, 5
a
cost.
high
Yep.
cost.
And then so is the next one, Wanda. So this is what is this, super? No,
This is a rare.
it's rare. It's rare when fielded. Ignore all text on opposing character cards until end of turn, including global abilities. Hmm.
Ignore all text on opposing character cards. End of turn, including global. Wow, that's like blanking
Yeah.
their whole team pretty much.
Till the end of turn. Yeah. That's
So
good.
you pretty much field her, blanks pretty much everything on your opponent's team that's a character, including their globals. Then you're pretty much free to do whatever you want because if anything is hindering you, right,
Yeah.
it will kind of stop that. So I guess if you have been Draxed or Typhoid married,
Yeah.
and then you need to use their abilities on that turn, so you field her, ignores that. Now they're open back up, all your characters. So
Hmm.
it's interesting. It's funny
Yeah.
because this is from the new set, and I've never used her card.
Yeah. I
I
haven't.
don't even know which one I like. I find they're a little expensive.
It is, yeah. Well, Wanda, I'm curious for that Wanda card. Could you use that in response to Careful What You Wish For? Like to blank that, and then that wouldn't have
Yep.
anything to do on your
But
turn.
but that's happening during your roll and reroll step, so it actually wouldn't stop it
Um, when
because once she's active, it's
after,
during your reroll and roll step that all that happens. So
right,
she's
right.
not gonna blank because you're still rolling, right? Until you
Makes sense.
field her, then she'll blank it after that. So
Okay.
yeah, it wouldn't. But I've actually never used any of her cards from the new set yet. I never even read them. This is my first time reading the Scarlet Witch cards from the new set. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's new to me. I think out of this one, I guess it'll have to be the rare. Sounds very interesting.
Yes, it does. Same here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
action dice. I mean, if we see a theme throughout all her cards through all the sets, action she does a lot of stuff with action
Yeah, I
dice.
see that. Yep.
But I find like in the modern today, I don't there's not much action dice being used.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's
Yeah.
more so like people try to go for the globals that's on the.
Right. It's more heavy on the globals and if I remember, if I remember um Infinity had no action dice. Um the new set Marvel Secret Wars did not have action dice. And Dark Phoenix had no action dice. And the only set that had action dice that's in modern is Superman Kryptonite Crisis.
Oh, okay.
So that card, I mean, it'll stop basic actions as well. But again, yeah, it's very heavy on the globals in this modern now, not really action dice or basic action dice. I think globals is a big thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's all of Scarlet Witch's cards. She's been around.
Yes.
She's had quite a few in Dice Masters. But you know what? Maybe I'll build a team around one of her cards one day.
One day.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe in a modern build. We have some modern um team practice coming up for WDA. Because of Worlds is happening at Gen Con. By the way, are you going to Gen Con?
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
Okay, yeah,
I
big
would
board
love to
gaming.
though, one of these
Yeah,
days.
one of these days. I'll just be playing board games all day. It's great. Um, so we will be doing some Worlds practice coming up. So maybe if I have to play, I'm not going, but if I'll build teams just in case.
What's the
Maybe I'll
format?
throw her on one of the teams and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what the format is?
It's pretty modern
It's
team.
modern. Oh, okay.
Yeah, modern. They haven't announced any bands, but they haven't even announced any prizing either yet.
Okay.
Yep, and I don't know how much space is left. Last 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, there was 4 spaces left. I have no idea where it is right now. I tried to look it up and I couldn't tell. So, but there was tickets still available, so I assume there's still room. But I will try to put that rare one a team one day, one of my modern teams, and just try her out, just to
Yeah.
see, just to see. So yeah, that's Scarlet Witch. Anything you want to add to Miss Scarlet?
No, I mean I like most of these cards I think would be interesting to put on a team, but it's not going to be like the main card that I would build a
Yeah,
team
yeah.
around kind
And
of thing.
honestly, the only modern one right now is the one from Secret Wars. Everything
Hmm.
else, all the other sets are now golden.
Oh, that's
So
true.
you would have to be in a golden event to use any of her other cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so upcoming events. As I mentioned, we do weekly Dice Arena every Tuesdays at 9 o'clock, and then for the last 2 Tuesdays of July, we will be practicing for Worlds. So if you are going to Worlds at Gen Con, and you're looking at nailing down your teams, practicing your teams, or whatnot, come out at 9 p.m. Eastern, and you can play and practice your teams. And then on August 26th, I believe, is August 26th? Yeah, Saturday is a 1-day online tournament for Breathweapon X6. So all their details are on their website. It's a very interesting format. You only have one card and 20 dice. So picking that one card is very tough. There are some bans. So if you are thinking about playing in that event, head on over to their website, which will also be in our notes, and then look over the bans. And I believe also you can't have cards that are 3 cost or less as well. So choosing the right card will be very interesting.
Yeah, I doubt anyone's choosing Scarlet Witch.
Probably not. You got to keep fielding her. If you're using the rare one. Actually, this one's golden, so it could be any card. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
go way back. Yes, that's what I think. It's gonna be a very hard card to pick. I can't even think of one yet. And then past Saturday, so past Saturday would be past Saturday of this recording. I played in the Dice Fight XL online tournament. And the last episode, we built my team, which was a Fantastic Four team. And I don't know if you're familiar, Danny. The Black Panther super rare is a alt win condition. So if you
Okay.
attack with 6 different affiliated Fantastic Four characters, you win the game.
Oh.
Yeah, so I built a team around that. So I had 6 different characters on there. I had Corvus Glaive, which helps to KO and discount your cost. I had Wonder Woman, and then I had Pirate Broadcast and Distraction Global on my team. So I did practice this team on the Thursday before the event. And I practiced a few different basic actions, and I wasn't really feeling Pirate Broadcast. So that's the one that turns off globals. Like you pay a energy and you turn off globals. And I never really got to Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
But in my practicing, I did win. But then again, I wasn't really like truly practicing against someone who had a very competitive team.
Yeah.
So I decided I wasn't really feeling Wonder Woman. So I did make a change. So when the episode aired, Collector Rob and Jackalope Spam gave some advice and said, why don't you go with like, what about like Typhoid Mary or like a Drax, for blanking and not purchasing things like that, or like I went with a 6 cost Invisible Woman with no prep. So getting to that cost, I knew it would be a little risky to try to get to a 6 cost, especially I didn't put prep on my team.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, maybe I change that, maybe I don't know. And they were saying like go with a cheaper cost Invisible Woman and just try to get them all out there. So before the event started, I did make a change. I took out Wonder Woman and I put Typhoid Mary. And I took out Pirate Broadcast because I found that to really go hinder me. And I put Counter Strike on my team. So Counter Strike does have a global that you could pay in a generic to prep a psychic from your used pile. And if you actually buy the action, it helps with affiliations by prepping affiliations and putting stuff. So, I mean, me having affiliated team, if I end up buying that, it's a 2 cost, not bad. It could help. So I made those 2 changes. Everything else stayed on my team. 6 Goths, Invisible Woman, everything like that. Went into the tournament. It was 5 rounds.
Oh my gosh.
First game, won that one. Got all 6 characters out there. Won the game by just attacking.
Nice.
So great. Day's going great.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the person didn't really have a competitive team I was playing against. Second game, I went up against Colossus, the rare Colossus. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
Okay, so Rare Colossus is a really good card, actually. I do like this card. If I was playing competitive, I would go with this one. So this one's called, what's his name? Puritor? So when he's active, at the end of your turn, each of your level 2 and 3 character dice deal your opponent 2 damage. So if you had 5 character dice at level 2 or 3, they will deal your opponent 10 damage when you end your turn. So there's Mystique that could stop that right now by putting it down to 1 instead of 2. So that was my second round. Got beaten. He didn't have to play his last thing. I'm like, you don't even have to roll your dice. You win the game. Right? So I couldn't keep up with that at all. So that was game 2. And then game 3, what do I hit? Another Colossus team.
Oh man.
So again, I have nothing to stop it, right? So once they roll their Colossus, and they have level 2s and level 3s out there, it's quick damage. Because if you have like 5, that's like 10 damage. 2 turns and you're done, right? So I tried to get Typhoid Mary out to blank Colossus, but it really never came in time. I was able to get Invisible Woman to try to re-roll it out, but it's just too quick, right? I found it was like quick, like it stalled out a bit, but I couldn't get there once they got it out there and things like that. And I had some misrolls and stuff like that. Fourth round, I played Master Mode. Let's just say I'm just gonna say this. 10 minutes was the game. I did not win, obviously. 10 minutes, got beaten by Master Mole, and that's all I'm going to say. And in the 5th round, was going good, but he had an action team that relies on action dice, and the characters he had, like if you roll action dice or whatnot, they re-roll out your characters. So he would buy cheap action dice. Once he rolls it and uses it, then their characters like re-roll this character or spin out this character or spin down this character. So I couldn't keep my characters in the field zone. Because either I'm re-rolling it out or he's spinning it out. So I couldn't keep them steady in the field zone. So that one I didn't win. So my guys were just not rolling back. Pretty good team, actually. I didn't even know some of the Sheriff Chains. I never used that card, and he was one that uses action dice and rerolls characters out. I was just like, for a 4 cost or something, I was like, wow, that's a pretty good team. I have to use some of these cards on my teams. So that's how my event went. I still think Fantastic Four is a very fun team to play. If you get all 6 out there, it is a big achievement because buying 6 characters in a modern world right now is very hard. I did try to go a little bit also. They had a secondary win condition in my team with Molecule Man. So to block my Fantastic Four characters, you had to pay 2 energy for each one to block. So nobody really holds back that much energy. So it's kind of like unblockable. So it's kind of my second strategy if I couldn't get to like Invisible Woman. And some people had ramp and prep for me. Some people did not. So it was good. But you know what? I had fun. I still like the Fantastic Four team. I mean, if you're bold and courageous and really want to do it, I say go for it for Worlds. Build a Fantastic Four team. Just be really quick at rolling and good at rolling it and going through your bag. So that was our comments based on that, and that was my little changes, and I still had fun. So if you go to Worlds, if you're out there and you build a Fantastic and go for Worlds, you let me know. You let me know. And then we got a YouTube from Christian who says the team sounds great. So this is a Fantastic Four team. My XL run was more surprising than I thought, but I can say for sure you will always need prep to control your bag at least a little bit. Yeah. And that's why I put Counter Strike on to prep. But honestly, Counter Strike only worked honestly like once for me. Like trying to get dice in your use pile, a psychic, and using Counter Strike at the same time somehow does not work for me. I don't know. It works once. So I guess Christian, you played in XL. I don't think I played you, but everybody has like different names, right? Um, so yeah, that was last week's episode. So I did change it, and things went well. I still had fun. But again, I would recommend Fantastic Four team if you ever want to play that. And that's it. Anything from you, Danny?
No, it was
Okay.
cool hearing you talking about your team. I've never really built a competitive team
Yeah.
myself, but do you know what was the winning team for the DXL?
Um. Yeah. So the winning team, I believe General Nemesis won, aka um Dana, who is a fellow Canadian. Whoop, whoop. Um, there was a few teams that went 4-1, but I guess because of all the pointing system, or however how else Launch does it, he actually came out number one. And he played, and I did look earlier. Oh, he had a Thor team, the Super Rare Thor team. Um, so let's see, quickly look here. So yeah, he had the Thor Juggernaut Sphere. So while he's active, when you feel the character would deal 2 damage to target character, die, or player. So he did not play a Master Mold team. Actually, a lot of people did not play a Master Mold team in this tournament. I think only a few, like less than 4 or 5 people played
So you just
a
lucked
Master
out.
Mold team. Yeah, I only got one, but still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he had Typhoid Mary and Drax, so he had some control pieces there. He had Mr. Sinister. He had the Thor. He had Dark Phoenix. So it looked like he pretty much went with looked like Thor, and then just kind of fielding stuff and doing damage. So congrats to Dana on winning that. Um, so I'm thinking, I guess, like Thor, Master Mole, we'll see probably a lot of. Colossus, I saw two, and I think he's still a good card. If anybody is looking out there for teams for Worlds, Colossus is, I think, good. I really hate Thor, so I hate it with a passion. I hate that card.
Uh-uh.
Master Mold, I have a love-hate relationship. I will play Master Mold team, no problem. I don't mind beating you with a Master Mold team. But feeling it on the other end, getting whooped in 10 minutes, yeah, it's pretty sucky. it's pretty deflating, honestly. So yeah, I'm like, okay, but it's funny enough, I like playing Master Mold team. So anyways, it's an interesting situation with that one. But yeah, again, or you can go Fantastic Four, just forget competitive those teams and play a Fantastic Four and have fun, or come up with something completely different that you never know, right? So then if that's all we have. Thank you again, Danny, for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was
Yeah,
fun.
and having and being on the podcast. Again, if you can go over to Danny's YouTube channel, DANICHA Plays,
Yes.
and we'll also link it in the show notes. Go check out her board game content. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you come out again and play some Dice Masters.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
try it for
or
sure.
if you're
Yeah.
ever around, maybe we'll play a game or two.
Hmm.
Um, I know it's summertime now, so kids are home. It's
Well,
hard.
my kid's in daycare for
Yes,
now, but
yeah,
yes,
yes.
it
Once they
is
hit
tough to get
school,
on because
yeah,
he sleeps
yeah,
a little later now. But one of these
yeah. He's
days
still
I'll get
young,
him.
right? So
Yeah, he is.
still
Yeah,
young.
he's
Yeah.
almost 3.
Well,
So
okay. Yeah, still a baby.
he is.
But yeah, thanks again. So you guys can reach us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those socials at dmNorthTV. You can go to our website, dm-north.com. You can email us. Let us know about any of those Scarlet Witch cards. Which one have you played it? Have you tried any of the modern ones? I haven't even touched it. What's your team like with Scarlet Witch? And you can email us that at dm-north.com. Or you can reach Jocelyn or I on Discord. Jocelyn is JoceStitch, and I am Super K. And if you do want to talk to Danny, she's... What are you on? Are you Danny on? I don't know what you're on Discord.
Yeah, I am Danny. So it's Danny Cha.
Yeah.
So DANICHA.
And we're on Discord, so we'll have that link to our DM North TV Discord in our notes. Until next time, on a double and dice.